Welcome to our weekly team call. We are super excited to kick this call off tonight because this is something we hear that you guys constantly want training about. With these calls, these are about you. We've gotten to this point in our business where we want to support you guys. And so thank you guys for those who are showing up and watching the recordings and plugging into these trainings. It's not just about listening to them. It's about taking what you learn and putting them into action. And a really big part of this business, if you want to grow a residual, successful, strong business for yourself, is building a team. And so Amber and I are really stoked tonight to talk to you guys about ways to invite to the coaching opportunity and giving you solid scripts and solid tools that you can take into your business and start using right away, especially because not this coming week, the following week, Amber and I are hosting a 3-day coach opportunity group. We're calling it Project Coach. But it's just a sneak peek, and it's not just for her and I, it's for all of you to use as well. And so you don't have to do any of the hard work here. We are going to be going live, talking about what coaching is, how we got started, what we do, answering common misconceptions, talking about how to earn and how to get started. So all you have to do is to talk about coaching, share what you do, and invite to it. That is all. You add people to the group. Obviously, please make sure, I just want to say this first, even though we're still 2 weeks out, make sure you ask people. I know everybody here has common courtesy, but sometimes still it surprises me when people just add people to groups. You always want to ask somebody if they want to join, but we're going to go over different ways that you can do that. So I really want to challenge everybody watching this to participate, because you should be growing your business. You should be recruiting coaches. This will help you get to that next rank. But also you have a week and a half, almost just under 2 weeks, a day under 2 weeks till this starts. So really use this time to get as many people as you can ready for this group. Start a list. And I would you guys have 2 weeks to invite to this. You can do so much with that time and with the tools we're going to give you. So don't just be I'm going to get 5 participants in this group, because that's not how this business works. If you invite 5 people, not 5 people are going to show up. And so really push yourself outside your comfort zone. Try to get we can make a competition, as many people as you can in here, and invite them to this opportunity. And yeah, so I wanted to go into this call, just kicking it off, talking about that, because it is something big and something to be excited about. And again, Amber and I are doing 99% of the work for this group. It is your job to invite to it and to get people in there. So.
And then me and Kate talked about inviting people to, if they wanted to, having some of the, because it's a 3-day thing. It's going to be a group, because we'll switch it up, but every month we're going to try to do some kind of coach opportunity, something. So there's always something to talk to people about that's fresh. And then, the end of August, we did a call, which is an hour long. So this is going to be a group. So it'll be structured, but people can kind of tune in later, if they miss something. But we also wanted to encourage anyone on the team, if they wanted to share just a little bit about their coaching journey, maybe just go live in there. I know Mary said she was willing to do it. And we can talk more about that. But I think it's important to represent all levels, people that are just starting out, even if it's literally for the discount, for the accountability. You don't have to have this huge success story. And I think that's relatable and will help you, because you're building your team where you're at, but you also have a vision of where you're going. So I think it's, important to kind of share the multifacets of our team. It's not just, like Kate said, it's not just about us, it's about the whole team. So if anyone wants to do that, we can talk more about that too. So we'll have some time, I don't know, in the 3 days at some point for people to go live on their own time. So it works for you.
Yeah. And one thing about this business is one thing about these groups that I love and why we always see success is facts tell, stories sell. That is the biggest thing in this business. And what people are going to relate to is your story and other people's stories. And what I love about these groups is that it's maybe you're talking to this person about coaching, but they don't relate to your story. Like I've talked to women who are moms and they might not relate to my story, but they may relate to Amber's or Eden's. And so it's important to remember that when you're adding people to these groups, like how powerful everyone's stories can be for people to hear. And it might be just what they need to hear to get going. So before we kick off, like what we're going to go over for the scripts and everything, I wanted to share something that I heard on a call today, a leadership call. And it's about like your mindset around recruiting, because this is, I think, the biggest holdup is because it's all in your head. Like it's your ego. It's not even necessarily, you don't know what to do, because most of you on this call already know what to do. Like I see the names, I see the faces, like I know you know what to do. 99% of the time it's in your head and you have to get over that. And so I want you guys to think about this for a second. I wrote this down because I was like, this is so true. And it's about posturing yourself in this business. It's about like setting yourself up as a successful business owner. And you have to remember, even if you're not there yet, that's who you are. That is who you want to be. That is who you want to attract. What I love about this business is you get to work with who you want to work with. You don't have to work with assholes. I worked so many jobs where I hated my boss, or there were people who I worked with who were rude and who I hated showing up and seeing every day. And I had to put on my customer service voice and show up anyway as well. The awesome thing is you're your own boss, you're your own CEO. You get to choose who you work with. So this is something you should have fun with, and you should never feel weird or salesy about, because you have to remember, don't feel weird about offering somebody this opportunity, because you're keeping their destiny trapped in your mouth. And also remember, if you don't invite somebody, 99% of the time, somebody else will. So if you have this dream team person who you know who would be amazing as a coach, and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to invite this person, think about how maybe I would invite them or somebody else will. Like if you don't, somebody else will. So ask yourself, like, why do we feel salesy about asking someone to join our team? You're literally offering someone a job to work with their friends from the comfort of their own home, work the hours that they want, and work with people what they like. Like how many places you just walk in and they offer you a job? That is what you're offering someone. You are offering somebody an opportunity to change their life financially, physically, on like every level. But why do we feel weird about that? Like, so if you have some weird feeling about that, like ditch that right now, because like any other job, like why would you feel salesy asking somebody to do a job where they get to work with their friends, they get to get paid to get fit, they get to work from their home, create their own hours, and do it as little, like work as little as or as hard as they want, and that's completely up to them? Like, why do we feel bad about that? That's so weird. So remember, like, it's time to posture yourself, and you want to be a successful woman, inviting successful women to do this with you. And I know for me, for a really long time, I struggled with, when I was talking about coaching, I was talking about where I was when I started. And that is not who we're attracting now. You have to remember, like, you've grown since you became a coach, whether it was a week ago, whether it was 6 months ago, whether it was a year ago, if you're like me, whether it was 4 years ago. The Caitlin who I am today is not the same Caitlin I was 4.5 years ago. So you want to talk to the people you want to attract. You want to talk to the people who are going to run with you where you're going. You want to work with successful women, and that's who you need to be gearing your post towards. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so to get into how we invite. So, and this inviting, we're going to talk about like soft inviting and hard inviting and call to actions. And a lot of it has to do with how we just talk about the business in general, whether we're talking to somebody and inviting them to a challenge group or coaching. Ideally both. It's really, I mean, you want your coaches to be challengers or at least experience that. So we're just going to go over just like some different ways. So we all know about like posting on social media because that's what we do. And so a good way to, so what we want to do is like every month, what I like to do is every month, the very first half is very much devoted to promoting my challenge group. Of course, I'm always anytime anyone signs up as a challenger, I'm offering them the discount to become a coach. But then at the end of the month, I'm switching gears more towards really trying to build my team. That way I get Success Club done early in the month, and then that way I can really switch gears. So, but I'm always talking about both a little bit all the time, dropping hints, or people call it breadcrumbing, where you're like dropping some, planting seeds. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can explain how you're like subtly talking about this opportunity. So for soft inviting, so now, like when I first started, we were told to post 3 times a day. There was no stories. So it was very important to post 3 to 5 times a day. And now that's not the case. You don't really, it's more about like, quality over, quality over quantity. So but we have stories for that. So, now we're not really posting 3 to 5 times a day on our main Facebook and our main Instagram. So, maybe you should at least be posting once a day. I believe in that, but, you're on your stories, hopefully 7 to 20 times a day, which should go pretty fast if you're a product of the product and you're talking about these things we're going to talk about. But if you are posting at least every single day, then every couple days is a good idea to talk about the coaching opportunity in your stories, like in your posts. So it doesn't have to be a call to action, doesn't have to say, hey, join my team, but you're talking about ways that, you're letting people understand that you are a health and wellness coach. You're talking about how it's changed your life. And so when I was a brand new coach, Caitlin suggested that we write a list of 20 ways coaching has changed our life. So I love that because I was a brand new coach. So it was literally like, I get a discount. I have a rad new community of people that are like-minded. I'm losing weight. I'm eating healthy. I'm a good role model for my son. I didn't have any huge income progressions or anything at that point. I was still working full time. So my list, my 20 things were very like, just how it was subtly changing my life in the beginning. So as you progress, that might change for you. It might be, it's paying my groceries, it's paying my car payment, it's paying my rent, that might change for you. So you just want to make sure that every couple of days you're talking about that stuff, ways that has changed your life through accountability, what it's paying for, even if it's simply like, I'm getting my supplements at a discount. I mean, just talk up wherever you're at and create excitement around that, that it doesn't have to be this huge thing. Or another one could be trips that you've earned or are earning. So the Success Club trip is a yearly trip and you earn that every single month if you're hitting Success Club. So, even if you haven't ever been on a trip before, you don't have to go into this big detailed thing in your post all about the trip. You just talk about how, you can kind of touch on it. You're creating like curiosity is the best way to describe this. Like people are like, okay, she's doing something. Maybe they don't quite understand it yet. But if you're doing this every couple of days, it starts to compound and people start to take more notice. So like trips you've earned or are earning, community that you've gained, accountability is huge. Even if you're just like, I did not feel like working out today, say it's like here's an example, it's a workout selfie and you're like, I did not feel like working out today, but after a long day at work or a long day, whatever, I checked in with my team, say team, I just say that, checked in with my team because that could be your challenge group or your coach team. Nobody knows. And I saw them all showing up and it really it made me want to do it too, or, word it like your story, but that's just some soft ways that you can talk about coaching all the time. And then if you're in your stories, same thing, talking about that stuff is perfect. Even tying in other coaches on our team's success. So it could be physical or financial. I mean, it could just be somebody on the team's before and after photo. And this also kind of checks off that box for recognition, which is one of our 4 vitals. So then you're talking about the team. People understand that not only are you on this health and fitness journey, that there's a team behind, with you. It's not just you. And I think that community is what a lot of, women are after. Not that men can't join our teams, but for the most part, a lot of women are who we're going to be attracting because we relate to them. So, you really want to be talking up that accountability. And then, just talking up our, I'm still talking about stories. So talking about other people on the team's success. You could even talk about our upline. I mean, you can talk about how we're part of Amy Silverman's team and we're top 3 right now. 4. Okay, we're 4. We dropped. We were number 1. We're dropping, but we're still in the top 10. So people don't, but also to keep in mind that some people don't know what the heck we're talking about. So it's like, you can just kind of keep it simple. Think of it like you're describing this to your grandma or like a second grader is like how I like to think about it. So keep it simple, just the team you're part of, the community that you're part of. Another thing Caitlin was saying earlier is like really cool to talk about how, we get our job is working out. So, you talk about that on your stories. Like how cool is it that part of my job is that I actually show up and do my workout, or even personal development. That's a part of our job. So you can talk about what you're learning. I mean, sometimes when I don't have anything to think about, I just share about something I'm like learning about in my personal development. So that's something you can share in your stories. And that's also value. So it's like a way where you're talking about coaching and also offering value. So it's not just like me, my team, you're actually like offering something to people. So those are just ideas of ways to, this is just still soft inviting. This is just kind of breadcrumbing, planting seeds, thinking, just sharing with the world. Cause I think we get in this bubble too, where we're like, oh, it's so obvious that I'm a coach. I said I was in this post, but then, a couple posts go by, stories go by, a couple days go by, and people are just in their own worlds. Like, and I think I've said this before, but I worked with a girl for like 6 months at the salon before she was like, and she was asking me questions about fitness, and she followed me on Instagram. And there was one day where she was like, "Are you a Beachbody coach?" And I was like, wow, I thought I made it so like annoyingly obvious. So that's good to know. I mean, it was kind of like, wow, someone that I like see all the time still was like over her head, And it's not that we have to be like, I'm a Beachbody coach. I do say Beachbody, but I don't think in the beginning it's important at all. You're talking more about your experience, what you're going through, how you're changing, what your goals are. That's what people are going to be drawn to. They're not drawn to a Beachbody infomercial. So that's what I got for that. I don't know if you want to continue on from there. Okay. Oh, I didn't do the call to action though.
Okay.
Should I just do that, and then you want to talk about hard inviting?
Yeah, I have something to add really quick about soft inviting too.
Okay.
Wait, do you want? Okay, I'll go. This is how you don't have to be good at anything to do this business. You just have to be passionate people. But so one thing that, especially as a new coach, or even if you're in your first year, no matter where you are, I think this is an important thing to talk about is your vision. Because I think, especially when you're talking about coaching and you feel like you don't have this team yet, or you don't have like this income yet, talk about what you're creating and where you're going. And something to remember is people won't get on a train if they don't know where the destination is. It's the same idea. In order for people to join your team, you have to have a mission statement. You have to know where you're going and what you're creating and what you want to create. So that's something you can definitely share as like a soft invite, or like something to talk about with coaching, is definitely think about your vision. And if you don't have your vision or your why, or you don't have it like clear in front of you every day, something as a reminder, please take time tonight or maybe over this week to just write it down, like meditate on it, work out, do whatever you want to do, but like really think about why you're here and what you want to create with this. And not just in the next year, but in the next 5 to 10 years, because this business is about longevity. That's where you will see success. And really think about like, okay, what kind of income do I want for myself and my family 5 years from now? What kind of freedom do I want for myself in the next year? What does that look like? How much do I want to be making? What do I want to be able to provide? What does that look like? What kind of trips can I go on? What kind of trips am I taking my family on through the Success Club trip, or like leadership, or like just get very, very specific and have something that you know that you are working towards each day. And that's what you can share about if you're comfortable with it. I remember when I was a new coach, I talked about all the time how I wanted to fire my boss. And then I was really nervous about talking about that, since I was like, I know my managers like watch stuff. But I was like, I never set a specific date. And then I finally was like, okay, I can come out and share that I put in my notice. But it's like, be mindful, but share where you're going, because that builds excitement. It's those things, because I don't know if any of you guys are like me, but I grew up thinking that I was probably going to work retail or like a 9 to 5 or be stuck in an office living a life. Like I didn't actually have like a dream for my life. I thought I would probably work a desk job, get married, have kids. Maybe my husband would provide for me if I was lucky. Like I didn't have a dream, which is heartbreaking to think about now because of how big my dream is. and how massive my vision is. But before coaching, I didn't have that, and I didn't think I was ever capable of having that. And so many people think the same thing. They think they're stuck, but they're not. And it's our job to show people that we have the power to unstick ourselves through this opportunity. So make sure you're directing your post towards that too, and showing, like, talking about what we have here. So I just want to add that, and then now you can talk about the call to action.
Okay. Now I think that is very important, to talk about vision. Because, and even if you don't know, like Kate said, take some time to think about what you want what your vision is, but it'll change too. Like in the beginning, it could literally be, because when I first started, I didn't think I was ever going to be full time. I thought I was just going to do this as a side way to stay accountable. So I had no desire to quit my job. But after about a year, my son was starting kindergarten, and I realized that I could take weekends off, which is huge. If you're a hairstylist, you work Saturdays. So I could afford to take Saturdays off. So I talked about that. And that was also respectful to my salon clients. I never wanted to be like, screw all you guys, I'm out of here. Like, I like that job. I like those people. Can you stop jingling? So I think everyone's different. Some people are like, oh my God, I can't wait to quit my job. And some people are like, I like my job. I don't know. Like, so, it's like your story is your story, but, sharing your vision of where it's going, and it can change, because it probably will, because as you reach goals, you find new goals. Okay. So the call to action thing, I still consider this a soft invite, even though you are saying in a call to action post or even in a story. A lot of times in my stories, I like to put text, because I know not everybody's listening. People are just like, not listening and just like watching for something that catches their eye. Or, some people listen to your stories, but I imagine some people are at work, some people can't hear it. So I like to do some text in there. So whether it's like on your stories with text, like I was like, September 17th, DM me. Or it's in my post, like, have you joined my September 17th group yet? Like, that's a call to action, because we're setting a date and we're like, asking someone to do something. So, but I still consider that a soft invite, because it's to the masses. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not directly messaging somebody. That we're getting to that. But like right now, we're still talking about indirectly. So I already talked about how, you should share about coaching, and you should share about it in your stories. But I think it's important to also make sure that since we always know what we're inviting to, we should know every month that we have at least one challenge group date. And we know we're going to have at least one coach opportunity thing to invite to. Since you always have a date, it's a good idea to starting now, make sure that you're posting call to action. So on your stories, it can be, what did I say here? Call to action on, so right now, the coach opportunity call or group, leading up to an event you want to post. I think leading up, we have 2 weeks. If you're posting once a day, I think 2 to 3 times a week is totally okay. And sometimes I'll just be talking about something else, and I'll be like, and by the way, did you guys get a hold of me about the coach group? Yeah, like I'll throw it in. So sometimes it's like I'm talking about it at least 2 to 3 times a week. And then in my stories, I think, what did I say? Every other day. And then when it's leading up to it, I think every day is fine. You can't really overdo it with stories. And then when you do have interest, like say, you're talking about it and you do get some emails come in or some DMs, or some people say they're interested. I think what I have found to work for me is, well, first you want to say, awesome, I'm glad you want to know more. The group, like I told you, is coming up. I'm going to add you to it. And then, basically you just let them know that information is coming from that group that's coming up. Or you can, I have in the past, I made a video that was under 10 minutes. It was like 7 minutes just on my phone. I recorded it. It was like a coach opportunity, my own version of a coach opportunity, like quick thing, like what it is to coach on my team. And you can look on YouTube. I can share with you guys mine. I think the last one I did was like a year ago, and I wanted it to be quick, and I wanted to be able to like even DM it to people if I wanted to. So just like a link, I made sure it was on my YouTube just so it was like easy to copy and paste. There are some good coach opportunity other calls. Like I have this in the doc that you guys are going to get access to, but I have this one that I like so much that I put it on my website. So I forget who made it. Brooke, somebody I think made it. If some coach made it, but like nicely didn't say anything about her name or anything. It's like a generic, it's not made by Beachbody, but it just talks about it lays out all the business side. So you kind of have to feel it out. Like, who are you talking to? Do you feel like they're ready for this like 10-minute video all about, the compensation plan? Or are they just maybe, one of your friends, you don't want to scare them. So you're just kind of like, I've tried everything. I've tried the groups. I've tried my own YouTube video. I've tried other people's YouTube videos. So anyways, the point is you want to make sure that you have a call to action at least every couple of days, and then something that you're inviting them to. So whether it's a video, an opportunity call, something you're showing them, or just our groups or our calls that we're going to be doing monthly.
So I'm going to talk about hard invites, and I also want to add too, don't be afraid to get on the phone with people. That's how Amber signed up, and I talked to her about coaching, was her and I got on the phone. And I think sometimes we get afraid because we're afraid we're going to mess up. We're afraid we don't know the answer. We're afraid we know the wrong information, whatever. The only way you're going to get better about talking about coaching is if you talk about it. And you can even explain that. Like when I talk to people about coaching and they get really specific about the compensation plan, I get real honest. Now I'm better. I know more, but especially in the beginning, I was like, I am not a numbers person. I will be happy to send you this information after we get off the call, but let's talk a little bit more about your goals with this, what you are looking for, and let me tell you what I can provide being a part of my team. So know that you don't have to be perfect. You're going to get better. You're going to build that confidence. And also when you're talking about it on your stories and in your posts, make sure to show people you're excited. And this is something I think I talked about it last week or the week before. I don't know. But I have to remember that I've been in here for 4.5 years, but I still am very excited about this opportunity. But right now I'm talking relatively calm, but some of you guys have probably been on a call where I'm super passionate. Amber knows what I'm talking about, and I think Sarah probably knows. And Sarah, so we did a flash sale, and the first video I told myself to remember my retail self. And so if you've ever worked retail or customer service, you have a customer service voice, and oh my God, you are just so excited and you know exactly how you're going to sound. And so that is how I sounded. And that, it's not unauthentic. It's still me when I get excited about something. And I just had to remind myself when I was talking to people, I need to tune in my excitement there. Because if you're not excited about something, nobody else is going to get excited about it either. And you have to show people, especially in your posts, if you just post a selfie, talk about how excited you are, have that emotion show through, because people will feel that. And it's something to remember. Okay. So we've talked about soft inviting. And so this is something I got hung up on for years, and I know Amber did too, probably because I was hung up on it, and it bleeds into the team. When you struggle with something, know that if you struggle with something, your coaches will probably struggle with it too. That's why you want to be willing to learn all of the things about this business and not necessarily be perfect, but be willing to get better at it and refine these tools. Because if you want to attract working coaches, you have to be that working coach. You have to show up 10 times harder than you expect your coaches to show up, because what I've learned through this business is people will do a quarter of what you do. So remember that. And we can't we're man, I just posted this awesome post, or I got really vulnerable on my story talking about this amazing opportunity and how it's changed my life. Why isn't everybody knocking down my door right now? Why doesn't everybody want to do this? Why am I not getting all the messages? Why isn't everybody filling out the form on my bio? I'm just so cool. My team's so cool. Everybody wants to join my team. Why? Because it is not their job. It is not their job to reach out to strangers on the internet. It is our job to reach out to strangers on the internet. It is not common to reach out to strangers on the internet. Yes, it is getting more common, but it is not. People are afraid of you, and not necessarily afraid of you, but they're maybe it's too good to be true. Somebody who's on our team definitely told me that she thought it was a call girl scam or something funny. You never know what people think about this. And so you have to remember that it is not their job to reach out to you. Yes, you're filling out, you're here, fill out this form in my bio, here, reach out to me, here, comment, you're telling them to do it, but people are nervous. And I was that person for so long. I stalked Amy for a year. I went to send her a message for like so many, or for a year, like so many times. I remember I wrote emails and saved them as drafts. I was terrified. And so when you think about that, you have to remember people are terrified too. Just because somebody isn't responding to your message, just because somebody isn't filling out your form or commenting on your photo, or like that doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means you have to do more work and show them that you want them on your team. So that is why it is your job to invite people. Social media is your storefront. That is like the first part of it. Inviting is behind the counter. It doesn't work if it's not like cohesive. Your message has to be cohesive. Your invites, like if you're not showing up on your social media and you're sending those invites, but you're not talking about your challenge group, you're not talking about coaching, like people are going to be like, what the heck is this girl inviting me to? They're going to look at your page. And if you're not showing up like that business person that you are expressing you are in this invitation for them to join you and do this business, like they're going to think you're a joke. That's just the truth. So, that is why you have to do both. And that is why you just can't expect people to come to you either. So hard invites, I will give you a few examples that Amber put together. So you can send hard invites through DMs. You could send them via text messages. You could get on the phone with somebody who you know. You could send them in Messenger. You could like run into somebody in the mall, or I don't know if you're like a public person, if you're like, maybe you're a mom and you go to mom groups. I don't know your guys' lives. But whatever you do, you could just be like, oh my gosh, you would be an amazing coach. Have you ever wondered? But you can have that conversation in person too. I know it's scary, but you can do it. I believe in you. Okay. So examples. So if you guys hopefully listen to the National Wake Up Call on Monday, they're every single week. They're a part of this business. If again, and think about this. Hopefully you guys think about this and like really let this sink in. If you want to attract working coaches to your business, you have to show up 10 times harder than you expect that person to show up. So if you want a coach who's willing to work hard, willing to like run with you, you better be showing up to these team calls. You better be watching the National Wake Up Calls. You better be like showing up 110%, because you are what you attract. And that is like a wake up call if I've ever heard one. So this week on the National Wake Up Call, she talked about the coach, and I'm blanking. We were talking about her earlier and I'm brain dead. And Brittany, was it Brittany? Am I wrong?
I don't know her name. All I know is I had to listen to her talk again. Like I was like, I just want to know the formula. But I had to like listen
to about this. I'm pretty sure her name is Brittany. I'm looking in the team group.
I was like, I wrote the formula for everyone. Everyone, you're welcome.
Everyone, you're welcome. Oh wait, no, it's Meg Kwazowski. No,
I mean, I love what she had to say, but
I'm pretty sure. Potatoes in it. I'm not okay, Meg. You know what's funny is she was one of the first top 10 coaches I ever saw. And if you ever go to an event with me, I am like freakishly like in the know about who people are. Like Amber knows this about me, and she'll be like, and I'll be like, that's that person. That's that person. So I've seen her and ran into her, and she's really nice. So she talked about God. I'm a hot mess today, you guys. I'm a hot mess every day. Let's just get real. But she talked about PB&J invites. And so I really liked this analogy. We talked about this today. I'm the biggest fangirl. I'm so awkward in person. Okay, so PB&J invites. The bread is thinking of them and acknowledging them in your invite. The peanut butter is complimenting them on something that relates to you. Hey girl, oh my gosh, I think it's so rad that you were on your fitness journey just like me, or you were kicking ass, or whatever it is. However you want to compliment somebody. It could be on their shoes. I don't know. Jelly is the invite to the challenge group or to coaching. And the last bread is the out, the reason to stay so they can continue following you if they're not interested. And I do this like, I wasn't even thinking about this, but like if I go to my invites that I send, this is what I do. I'm like, either way, thanks so much for your support. So here's an example of a PB&J invite. Hey lady, I've noticed you've been watching my stories and I wanted to thank you so much for tuning in. I noticed you seem really positive in your post and I really love that. That's how you're going to relate to them. I hope this isn't too forward, but I'm looking to add more ladies like you to my team and I think you'd be perfect. If it's not for you, no worries. I hope we can still support each other. So you're giving them an out. so they don't feel pressured to like unfollow you. Amber and I were talking about that today when like you invite somebody and like we've both gotten responses and we're like, we're not interested, but we still want to follow you, or we hope it's okay that we still follow you. And we're like, yeah, that's totally fine. But it's a great way to let somebody know how they would be a great part of your team. And 99% of the time, somebody will be really stoked that you sent this message, that you complimented them. And a lot of the times, people don't realize that they can do this with you and that they don't think that they have what it takes to do it with you. That's like 90% of it right there. They're worried that they're not good enough or they can't do this. So you complimenting them and you telling them that they will make a great part of your team, that they have in them what it takes, like they will feel, so they'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And then, sorry, Kate, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to add too, and she talks about this on the National Wake Up Call. It takes a little more time because you have to make it, sometimes it's going to be more individual to the person. But I mean, if these are people you really want on your team, it gets away from that inauthenticity, of like copy paste, which, like, sure, numbers, but like, really when you're building your team, you want it to be thoughtful and people that you really want to work with. So if you're doing this, like these authentic, there's a formula, but they're authentic. You're actually complimenting them on something real. And you really do see a reason why they'd be on your team. Then, even if you're just doing like 3 to 5 of those a day, that's great. Those are great, I think, a good way to do a hard invite that's authentic.
Yeah. And that's just a reminder that you should be reaching out to the people who you think would rock at this. Even if you're like, oh, I don't know if they would ever do this. So I mention it every week, but it's where I get ideas to talk about on these calls and where I get these certain takeaways that I share here, but I'm a part of this like 2-star diamond group and we've all been coaches for around the same time. And somebody said that they actually were a personal trainer and a CrossFit coach. And it's really interesting because sometimes I know specifically I've thought of people who would make great coaches and they're like CrossFit trainers and they're like coaches. And I'm like, oh, they would never want to do this. Like we put these stigmas on other people before we even invite them. How weird is that we make up somebody's mind for them? Like, that's not cool. We're just keeping this amazing opportunity that's changing our lives, and we know it has the ability to change other people's. Why are we holding ourselves back? Why are we not inviting everybody? Because remember, we're giving them, there's nothing weird or salesy about that. We're offering them a job that they can work whenever they want, how hard or how little they want, and they get to work with their friends, and they can do whatever they want because they're their own boss, they're their own business owner. With this, like, we shouldn't feel weird about that. So remember, when you're inviting people, like, invite the people you want to be on your team. Get excited about that. I still get nervous when I see girls who I know, who I'm like, man, they would make a great coach. And I get nervous about it. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm just going to send that invite because I'm a businesswoman and I'm a successful businesswoman. I'm looking for successful businesswomen. Like, you have to remember that. You have to give yourself that confidence. Don't wait until you're diamond to feel confident. Don't wait until you're 2-star or elite or whatever you think you need to be in order to find that confidence for your business. Find that confidence now. Be that person now, because that is who you will attract. Okay, back to the hard invites. So that's just an example with that, but obviously you can do that in so many different ways. Again, you can talk to somebody in person. All the time, and I didn't do it today, but like if I'm at a coffee shop and I'm talking to baristas, a lot of the time they'll be like, oh, what? Or I'm like, oh, I used to be a barista too, or I'll make some joke about it. And then they'll be like, oh, what do you do now? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually a health and fitness coach. I work from home, or my whatever spiel that comes out of my mouth at the time. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. 99% of the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you should friend me on Facebook and we can talk more about what I do and how you can do it too. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to think about like what their next response is going to be, what all that thing is. Be like, I'm actually hosting, my team is hosting this awesome 3-day free group where you can learn exactly what I do and how I got started and how you can do this too. What? That's so simple. Okay. And then do you want to go over the next part or do you want to go?
I was muted. You want me to?
Sure.
Okay.
Even though I guess I could, because this is technically you.
I'm just trying to think of where. Okay, so you did that example.
Okay,
I can just go. So then we're still talking about hard inviting. And so, sending those direct messages, hopefully thoughtful. And then the next part that we're going to talk about is sorry, I was trying to type this while Kate was talking to me. So there's probably a lot of typos in here. When about to enroll challengers, totally misspelled. So this is just like another way of inviting. So if you're already talking to people about a challenge group, it doesn't hurt to talk to them about coaching at the same time. Plant those seeds. Some people are going to be like, no, thank you. Some people are going to be like, maybe later. And some people are going to be like, hell yeah. So you just never know. And then those people maybe they'll just be discount coaches. Maybe they'll be, your rock stars. You just don't know. So I've been using the share cart scripts. And the original ones that I were using were for Lift 4. I think they're still that way in my Team TCB scripts in the files. But it did say, one of the questions, it's like, do you want energize? Do you want recover? Do you need the portion control containers? Do you want to become a coach to be in Joel's, like I used to say test group, but I changed it. And so now I just make sure that no matter what I'm talking about, whether it's Lift 4 or 2B Mindset or 21 Day Fix, I make sure that in my share cart scripts, I'd set at some point while I'm going to build their cart for them, do you have any interest in joining as a coach for free, same time to get extra accountability, save 25% off products, and have the option to make extra money helping your friends and family get healthy with you? That's what I've been saying. I mean, I send that to everybody, whether I think they're going to be a good coach or not, because I want them to know, just let them know there's an opportunity to get 25% off. Some people just like to know that that's an option. Also, too, if I'm building a cart, I'm asking them, if they want energize and recover and stuff like that. So it's a good conversation starter because they might be like, I want recover, I want the bars, I want everything, but I don't want to be a coach. And I put the cart together and I say, this is also in the scripts already in the share cart scripts, but it's like, you feel free to edit your cart. I just put that stuff in there. But it's also a way to be like, if you're a coach, you save 25% off today off this stuff. So it's just a way to like let people know they're going to get a discount. And some people, I'm going to say out of like 10 share carts, maybe 3 are like, yeah, I want to be a coach. So it's not like most people, and every time someone says not interested, there's a little bit of me that's like, oh, fine. But like, it's not about you and you've just done your job and shared the opportunity. They might come back around later, which I'm going to get to, also following up later with your customers and challengers on this. But, it's just planting the seed. If there's nothing, you're not doing anything sketchy, you're just letting them know that opportunity exists. And it's also there for them as extra accountability. So that's why I say all the stuff, discount, accountability, earn money.
One thing that I want to add that's really cool is that they now get it. So when somebody buys a challenge pack and you're signing them up as a coach, that they now do get a 25% discount on anything else that they purchase with that. That wasn't a thing like 6 months ago. I remember the first time I noticed that, I was like, what? That's a thing.
You watch the price go down. You're like, well, that's actually a really great deal you're getting. Yeah. And I like that too, because if they do say, oh, I want to be mindset, I want all the things, I know that the cart is going to look hugely expensive to them, even though they're getting so much stuff. So when they say they want to be a coach, I'm like, yes, because at least they get to see it. I get to point out, you get to save 25% off on all this stuff. And if they're like, no, thank you, I'm always like, oh, no problem. You can always become a coach later if you want to, whatever. Like, I'm not going to make it weird. I just let them know about it. If you're not using share cart for any reason, but you're still using some kind of scripts, hopefully, you can still mention this in your scripts. You can still be like, here's the information on how to sign up. Here's my link. Keep in mind, you can word this however you want it to be, whether it's in your share cart script or in your final step 3, whatever you call it, your final step, your final email that has the link of how they're going to order. Just make sure they understand that there's the coaching opportunity. I like using share cart though, because then I just get to create the cart right off the bat and just select coach. It's so easy. Instead of having to be like, enroll with this challenge pack, but then make sure you add on coaching. It used to be a lot more confusing. So I think share cart is easier to get your coaches signed up. And then, so I also include, I'm not going to read this whole thing. Maybe I will, why not? So, and some people, say I send them the share cart scripts and they reply, I don't know, what does that entail? Then that gives me an opportunity to still create a cart. Sometimes if they're like, I don't know, maybe I'll still create the cart, but then I'll say like, hey, I didn't add on coaching at this time. I kind of feel it out. More of what coaching is. So this is something I came up with the other day. I was talking to a girl that was in the beauty industry, but you can change this. With coaching, you save 25% off on your orders, have the opportunity to earn 25% commissions on any sales or new customers you refer. Most people find as they are loving it so much, their girlfriends want to join. And instead of referring them to me, you get the credit. They can be in our group and you can earn $30 to $60 off each person you help. It's literally how I fell into this, just helping my girlfriends at the salon and my clients who wanted to know how I was losing weight and feeling so good. There's no sales quotas or penalties. If you don't work the coaching business, you still receive a discount. The only ongoing fee is a monthly coach fee of $15.95. Which is your business fee, which covers back-end stuff like website, customer service, shipping, receiving, inventory, payroll, etc. With 25% off and $15.95 coach fees, still come out saving $15 off your Shakeology every month. If you decide coaching isn't for you, you can cancel. I'm still your coach, and I'm going to continue to support you through your health journey. So I know that's a lot, but I like to put that all in there because then it's just straightforward. They know they can still sign up without that, but I feel like I've covered all the bases because I don't want to sign someone up and then they're like, I didn't know it cost $15.95. And sometimes you have to break it down for people where like they don't get how they're paying for a coach fee and saving, and they are, so anyways, that's just a script, an idea, change it, edit it, omit it, whatever. It's just an idea to get the conversation going. And then lastly, upgrading current challengers. So something that I do when I do have my challengers, they already know that the coaching opportunity exists, but, and ideally they've been participating in their challenge. And, I like to, about every week I look at my last month's Success Club and I just look and see when their order date was, because I want to, it was easier when I was doing 21 Day Fix all the time, because when they were on their third week, I always knew like they're finishing their challenge. They still have another week, but now we're doing all these programs that are like 2 months long. So I have to be more on top of it. And Beachbody's great now about reminding them that they're going to have an order ship, but they used to not be that great. So I used to be really like on top of this, but anyways, it's a way to check in with your current challengers, but also remind them that their Shakeology is going to ship, and use it as an opportunity to offer them the discount again, or at least for the first time. So an example is, hey lady, just checking in with the start of a new week. I also want to remind you that your 30-day mark is already coming up on the 17th. And I wanted to offer you the opportunity to save money on Shakeology since it looks like you want to continue. As a coach, you save 25% off on all future orders and have the opportunity to also earn money referring friends and family. Let me know if you want to talk more. That's just an example. Caitlin used to use use a script that was like, you've been rocking in our challenge group and I think you'd be a great, so like talk up what's going on with them. My problem is I'm like, hello. Some of them are like MIA, but I'm just reminding them that their Shakeology is going to order and going to renew. And sometimes I'll even say like, now's a good time to switch your flavor, postpone it. I don't know, just talk to them, just check in with where they're at. And most of the time I have a lot of Shakeology. I don't need any more things anyways. And I'm like, okay, but I still did my job. And then I get to say things like, why do you still have a lot of Shakeology left? Are you drinking it every day? You really want to make sure during your challenge that you are at least your first challenge drinking it every day and sticking to the challenge requirements. Just gives you an opportunity to be a good coach and check in with them, but also let them know about the discount. So that's just a good way. And that's how I built my business in the beginning. I was building my business off my challengers just because that's how I signed up. I was a challenger that turned into a coach. And I think that they can make really great coaches because they've they have that passion. They've already experienced what it feels like to see success with this. And they have that passion for it. So, but I definitely switch gears and I make sure to invite them to the coaching before they order, but definitely after they are customers, just so they know. And there'll be people I have people that insist on paying full price on their Shakeology every single month that do not want to coach. And I'm like, are you sure? I mean, you've been buying Shakeology every month and it'll save you. No, I'm cool. All right, then that's fine. That's their choice. And I'm making more commission, but like, that's what they want to do. So it's like, to each their own. All you're doing is letting them know that this is an opportunity.
And one thing with that too is I like to, especially for the people who are participating, and I normally wait like 2 weeks into their challenge. If I see somebody who is commenting on all our daily posts, like going above and beyond, they're sharing us, or if they're sharing on their stories or whatever, I like to be like, hey girl, you are totally rocking it. Like Rosette or something. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. And I see that you're motivating so many women in our group. Have you ever considered doing what I do as a coach? And I just leave it at that. And I keep it very, very simple. And then if they say, well, maybe, or yeah, I'm just not ready yet. And I'm like, well, we should at least get you upgraded to a coach to save 25%. Because like sometimes people get in their head about the discount. And I know Amy is like, I never mention somebody signing up as a discount. I just sign them up for whatever. So it's different ways to do it. It opens up that conversation again, just in a different way. And a lot of the times, if you're going into it, remember to always give them that compliment, give them that confidence boost so they know they can do this too. Because a lot of the time people are just, they think down on themselves. It's so easy for us to think about all the reasons why we can't do something. It is very, very difficult a lot of the time for people to name 3 reasons why they can do something. So if you give them like 3 reasons why they would rock at this, that is huge. I just came up with that on the spot. I love that. Dang.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because then you're recognizing like why they would be a good coach. I love that. And yeah, and if you're only recruiting and talking about discount all the time, that's all you're going to get. So I know my examples were like, oh, for the discount, but like you really want to be also talking to people about the business, because you will build a business on a bunch of people that go in and out of active, that don't have the same heart that you do, and it's going to drive you freaking nuts. Okay. So just try to like have a balance of like people that are excited about the business, and you're going to have your discount people. That's fine. But just remember, if you're talking about the discount all the time, that's what you're going to get. Discount coaches. I had another thing I wanted to say based on what you were saying. No, I don't remember.
So with that too, and just the opposite of like remembering that, if you want coaches who are going to work the business, you need to show people that you're working your business. Talking about what you're doing, showing it on your stories, which we already talked about. I'm just like reiterating, telling people that you are doing work. Because it's very interesting to me, and I struggled with this a lot for a really long time, as I showed a lot about the lifestyle. I wasn't talking enough about the business side of things and how much work I not accidentally put into my business. There are days where I accidentally get stuck into messaging people and I do forget, and it is an accident. Like, I mean to do other things, but I just work my business. But like, show people your intention and the hard work that you're putting in here, because that will show people that they're capable of doing it too. And that will also attract people who want to work. So one thing that I did want to mention was like saying when you're doing your hard invites or your soft invites, this is actually for a soft invite for a post. If you want to get very specific, again, you want to talk to the people who are where you are, who want to build a business. You're a successful Wookie. I said successful Wookie. You guys, I'm just a hot mess today. Oh man, you're a successful woman looking for other successful women, not Wookiees. I mean, to each their own. Guys, I love you. Thanks for being on our team and putting up with my crazy. But that's what you have to like say in your post. Say, I'm looking for women who want to, or who are successful, or who are willing to work hard, and whatever characteristics that you're looking for. You don't want to say, I'm looking for women who are flaky. I'm looking for women who are wishy-washy. No, you are looking for women who are willing to work hard, who want to build a business on their time, work with their friends, get paid to get fit. Like, be very specific in your post about who you are looking for. And then on this invite, one thing that I heard today that really rang true that I thought was very interesting is that a lot of the times when we are talking to people about coaching, whether it's in a soft invite or a hard invite, it's a post, or no, more like in a hard invite, but it's like we have a masculine and feminine voice, and our feminine voice normally leads this, and it's the, what do you think about this? Or would you be interested? Or like instead the masculine voice is, when are you going to join my team? Like assuming the sale, almost like assuming they are going to join you, stepping up and not being like, oh, well, what will you think of that? It's being like, oh, let's get on the phone and talk about this. If you send them a what is coaching video that you made or that you found that you like, to be like, okay, let's talk tomorrow at 4:30 for like, let's set up this appointment to talk for 30 minutes tomorrow, and send them a time. And if that time doesn't work for them, you send them a different time, like figure out what works for them. But it is very much asserting yourself and not being wishy-washy about it, not being like, oh, it's okay, or what will you think, like masculine versus feminine. And again, like you have to assert yourself as a business owner, as a businesswoman, as a successful woman, not Wookie. And I don't know why I find that so funny, but that is who, yeah, that's how you want to like talk. I'm losing it. Oh my God. I'm PMSing and all over the place, so I don't even know. I like to use that as an excuse. But anyways, get very real about it. I just keep seeing you both laughing and it's throwing me. I was never good at public speaking because I started laughing all the time. But anyways, get serious about who you want to attract and how you're talking to those people. Again, like assuming the sale, like exuberate the confidence that you want to see in your business. Like, don't wait for it to happen. Don't wait till you earn a certain amount or recruit a certain amount of people or hit Success Club or whatever. Like, just show up the way you want to show up. Don't wait to feel that way. If you're waiting to feel that way, you need to get over your damn self. You should probably read the book, Get Over Your Damn Self. You should next read the book, 5-Second Rule. I'm re-listening to that book because I realized how I needed to work on that too. And it's not even necessarily about having that 24/7, but it's about having that confidence when you need it for your business.
And I think it's important to just remember that all of these things can feel scary and feel weird and feel like you kind of have to figure out, you're always going to figure out your voice and what's going to work. Some things are going to not work, and it's about getting uncomfortable and remembering that no, you're not ever going to like screw up inviting someone wrong. You know, you're just going to learn what works better for you. And it's just like anything in this It's just like anything in this business. It's just, you know, getting uncomfortable and having those conversations, and it gets easier. Like, you know, some of these, and if you're practicing all these forms, you know, like subtly talking about it versus like actually inviting and then, you know, doing call to action, like when you start to do all these things all the time is just part of your checkoff list, they get easier. And you never know what's going to speak to someone at that moment. You just don't know. It could, like, you just never know. So it's just good to kind of do all the things.
And especially with coaching, if I really encourage everybody on this call to remember, like, write down your vision. If you don't, even if you know what your vision is, like, write it out, have it in front of you wherever you work your business. Like, have a little office space if you can that you can devote to your business, and like have it there so you can read it every day. Put it in the notes section of your phone. But I really like pen to paper. It's something mental that it does. It gets your brain working towards those goals. But like reading it every day will help you show up and reminding you why you're showing up, but also excite you when you are inviting people to do this, because you're reminding people why they're doing it with you, even if it's like a subtle thing. Subtle. I don't even know. I can't talk anymore. But one more thing, remember you're in, like, this is another analogy. I'm just full of them tonight. But if you were having a birthday party and you posted about it, but you didn't actually like invite people, nobody would come to your party. They would be like, oh, well, I'm not sure I'm invited. Like, she talked about it, but like, whatever. If you want people to come to your party, you have to invite people. So this is a big party that we're having, these calls. We know I talk about Wookiees and I laugh at myself 99% of the time, but like, it's a party. It's fun, right? You get to hang out with people who you like, hopefully. Sorry if you don't like me, but not sorry. And this is a party. You have to invite people to it. And think about that with your invites. Think about that. Like, remember, if you don't invite somebody, somebody else will. And you are just keeping their destiny trapped in your mouth. Even if it's a no, those people come back around. If you keep showing up, the longer you keep showing up, the longer you're consistent with this, most of those people who you talk to come back around. And if they don't, that's fine. They're not your people, but you get to figure out who you want to work with and who your people are. And that's what's really fun about this. And that's what I love about what we do, is because this team to me is a second family. And I just want more women who want to better themselves and better their futures and dream big. And like 99% of the time, it's very, very rare that I meet somebody from our team who I feels like I already know you guys. It feels like we're family. It feels like we already have a connection, because we do. And that's what's so fun about this business, because it is actually hard to make friends as an adult. It is. It's weird. It's awkward 99% of the time, but that's what this is. It's like a family, and you get to be your authentic self, and you get to connect with other people, and you get to show them this amazing opportunity, and you get to travel with them, you get to experience life with them, you get to watch people grow, you get to watch their lives change. And since I've been doing this for almost 5 years, which I've said so many times on this call tonight, I will tell you, it's really interesting. There are not many people who are around from when I first started my business. Like very, very few people are still leaders on the team. Katie Goon is, but her and I don't talk very often, but I know she's still a coach. She still shows up. But like Meredith Ganau, Jacqueline Hughes, Amanda Rakowski, like obviously Amy, but there's under 10 people who are around from my first year in coaching. And it always breaks my heart when somebody leaves, but it's also like, it's not up to me. And it's not like, I don't want to hang out with those people anyways. If somebody leaves, like Amber and I were talking about this earlier about somebody who left the team earlier this year. Like, I don't want to be friends with those people. And it's not necessarily not because they're part of the team, but because a lot of those people make excuses, or like, I don't know, they're not fun to be around. Just the reality is, a lot of people who quit are people who are stuck up in their excuses. They're stuck up in their limiting beliefs. So there aren't people you want to hang out with. This team is full of women who I want to hang out with, who I want to hike with, who I want to adventure with, who I want to see their lives change. It's cool because Amy is now having a baby, and I've known her for like 5 years. She's one of my very dear friends, and it's cool to see her life evolve. It's cool to see Amber's life evolve, and know that I believe Amber is such a big part of my life. And like, it's just this community, and it's so powerful. And so I really encourage you guys to think about this and think about the power here in the community, and like your vision for your future, and who you want to be with 5 years from now, who you want on your team, who you want to do life with. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hopping on. It's a little bit over 7, but I think it was a really awesome call. So hopefully you guys learned a lot. And remember, our 3-day Become a Coach workshop, or Project Coach, whatever we're calling it, is starting September 24th. It will go through the 27th. It's 3 days. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I really encourage you guys to invite a bunch of people to the thing. Like, invite as many people as you can, talk to people at your work, talk to your family, anybody who's ever been interested in what we do, or even the people who are like, what are you doing? Be like, hey, like, you want to see? Like, there's no obligation to join, but you can learn about it. But the more people who get in there, it's fun. So thank you guys so much. And I appreciate your time tonight. Love you all, and can't wait to continue doing life with you and see who we bring onto the team this month. Okay. Bye, guys.